Alright, there you go. I worked all frickin' day at it yesterday, but I actually got the son of a bitch out. I took a tiny little drill bit, managed to get a hole pretty well on center, and I had to steer it around a little bit to get it perfect, but I got it really good and started drilling. And then of course the bolt wasn't bottomed out all the way down in there, so my drill kind of punched through the bolt and snagged and snapped off in there. And then I was shitting bricks for a minute. But I took one of those little tiny precision screwdrivers and started picking at it and got the majority of it out. Went in there with a slightly bigger bit and one slightly bigger than that, and finally got all the little drill bit out of there. And then I took various tools, but mainly this junk old screwdriver, and kind of sharpened it down like that. Sort of dug in right at the top of the hole, and I just started banging on that screwdriver until what was left of the stud collapsed inside the threads, and eventually I was able to pick it out of there, and I had the right tap to go into that hole, and I chased out the remnants, and a bolt will go in there rather nicely now, and it goes all the way in. So that's that. That was my big dilemma. I was worried about this more than the damn exhaust manifold, but I did manage to get a pretty good braze job on the exhaust manifold. Wasn't as tricky as I would have thought, and everything that needs to be up is up and over it. Of course, I got a lot of sanding and filing to do, but it'll come out nice, and hopefully it'll be quiet when I'm done. But I guess that's about all there is to that. I'll probably get a video of what I do to whatever I do to plane it off. I'll get a video of that. Well, first I'm gonna grind off what can obviously go, and when I get close, then I'm gonna start with either the file or a really long sanding block and some good emery paper, and hopefully that'll work out pretty good. That's about it. I'll get back to it. And here it is, after taking one of those flap sander majiggers to it. I got just the tiniest little gap down in there. Might have taken a bit much off, but that would seal. Just not the greatest. I don't know. I'm gonna get a nice something flat and make a sanding block up, and if I can take this and this down just a hair, that'll seal up better. It's not the most incredible braze job. In fact, it's pretty damn ugly, but I believe that'll seal. And if I have to, I can still always just go out and get a new manifold. That busted stud was the big issue. I got that out. I didn't have to tear the friggin' head off. I didn't have to drill it and tap it for a bigger bolt. It's normal, and that makes me pretty damn happy. So this ain't gonna spoil my parade, and if anything, at least it was some nice practice for brazing cast iron. I haven't done that in a long time. So that's that. Well, here's what I got. It's looking to me like this entire manifold has a warp to it. I did get that reasonably level. I mean, I don't have a belt sander, and I don't want to take the grinder to it and mess it up. But this here is a reasonably good straight edge. This is a piece of aluminum that somebody took a milling machine to it and milled the sucker good and straight. But oh boy, let me see here. Got about 1/16, 3/32, maybe even 1/8 of an inch gap in there. So I'm wondering if I stick the 2 middle bolts in there, would it draw it down or would it just crack it? I mean, if it cracked it, I wouldn't too much care at this point. I'd just go and, well, geez, these things are all over, you know. It's wouldn't be that hard to get one from the junkyard. Hopefully it wouldn't be so cracked and distorted, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm hoping it would draw down at least enough to the point where the gasket would seal. Maybe some furnace cement in there. I hate relying on that stuff though. I hate relying on any kind of additives or sealants or anything like that unless it's explicitly called for. I like to fix stuff right so I don't have to use mud and additives and wishful thinking and magic bullshit. So I think what I'm gonna do is just bolt the sucker up, and I'm gonna see how it works, and hopefully there's just enough flex in this thing. I mean, cast iron's brittle, but everything has a certain amount of flex to it, and this might just draw up enough to where it'll make a good seal. And if it won't, I'll either get it planed or get another manifold from the junkyard, depending on how much it would cost to get this planed. I'd rather get this planed because I know all the cracks are repaired, and I already took a lot of time on it. So if it was cheap to get it planed, you know, maybe, oh geez, well, a cylinder head I think is usually 80 bucks, but most of that is setup work. Doesn't necessarily matter the size of your cylinder head. It matters that the guy has to set this thing up in his jig and run it on this gargantuan friggin' belt sander. I mean, I guess some people use milling machines, but the guy I go to has a giant, pretty much giant belt sander that just carves the whole thing right down. So I'm gonna call that guy today and see if I can get a quote from him, maybe. But nah, I'm just gonna try to bolt it up. I'll see what happens. If it cracks, it cracks. No biggie. So that's it for that. We'll get more when I get this manifold put on, and when I get the exhaust hooked up, and we'll see how it sounds. I don't know, but it's at least convincing. So take it easy.